Start with a virus, import it into America, talk about it non-stop, call some governors, nod them, that's your guys. Put patients into nursing homes, kill thousands, blame the president, keep blaming, blame some more, lock down small business, kill the economy, push mail-in voting, stoke a race war, call for riots, pick a candidate, voting, stoke a race war, call for riots.
We're looking for a guilty verdict. We're looking for a guilty verdict.
What should protesters do?
Well, we got to stay on the street, and we've got to get more active. We've got to get more confrontational. We've got to make sure that they know that we mean business.
Yesterday, a documentary dropped on Rumble entitled The Fall of Minneapolis. Now, this particular film was based off of a best-selling novel by author and journalist Liz Collins entitled They're Lying, The Media, the Left, and the Death of George Floyd. Now, this particular documentary pokes a lot of holes in the narrative that the mainstream media laid out for the American people. Everything surrounding the death of George Floyd, the subsequent trial of the police officers involved, most prominently Officer Derek Chauvin, and the fallout that the city of Minneapolis has incurred ever since. Now, this documentary happens to focus strictly on the city of Minneapolis, but of course, we saw in the summer of 2020, mayhem, looting, and rioting occur nationwide, especially in our larger cities, and the devastation and destruction is still being felt 3 years later in 2023. And come to find out, almost all of it was based on false narratives pushed by the mainstream media and amplified by dishonest politicians who need to continue to divide constituents in order to stay in power. Now, if you haven't had a chance to watch that documentary yet, tonight we're going to go over a few of the prime examples, mainstream media, and the lies that they told about the arrest and subsequent death of George Floyd, lies that helped propel this nation into its fourth turning and bringing about the current crisis that we as Americans find ourselves in today. Watch.
I'm so sorry. God dang, man. Man, I got shot the same way as officers before.
Okay, well, when I say let me see your hands, you put your fucking hands up.
Man, I'm so sorry, officer.
You got them?
Man, dang, man.
Put your hands on top of your head.
Man, officer. Last time I got shot like that, officer.
Hands on top of your head. Hands on top of your head.
Now, in case you just missed that, George Floyd just claimed that in his last interaction with police, he was shot by the arresting officers. As a matter of fact, in the next 15 minutes, he's gonna give officers 4 more reasons why he shouldn't be arrested. Some which are true, and some which are not.
In 2020, George Floyd says, I got shot last time.
Man, I got shot last time. Same way, man.
And you would have been the last officer to arrest George Floyd. Did you shoot him?
No, I didn't shoot him. No. The body camera is out there. It shows exactly what I did, exactly what the other officers did. No, we didn't shoot him.
How was George Floyd acting during that arrest in 2019?
Everything was almost identical. I mean, the initial stop.
Keep your hands where I can see them.
Let me see your hands.
Damn, man.
Stay in the car. Let me see your other hand.
I'm sorry.
Let me see your other hand.
Please,
both hands.
do nothing.
Put your fucking hands up right now.
During the time, I couldn't see his hands. He was moving about. We found out later he was probably eating dope.
Hey, okay, man.
Open your mouth. Spit out what you got. Spit out what you got.
My mama, man. My mama, man, please, man.
Come on, lean back.
I'm not gonna do anything more. I just lost my mom, man.
Now, during the more than 15 minutes that police tried to actually arrest George Floyd, he claims that he's suffering from anxiety, claustrophobia, the recent loss of his mother, and COVID-19, but fails to mention at any point in time that he has ingested or by other means taken lethal doses of both fentanyl and methamphetamines. And despite that, 36 seconds after George Floyd was on the ground, handcuffed and complaining of not being able to breathe, the officers put out a call for EMS to the scene.
For 5 whole excruciating minutes.
For 8 minutes and 46 seconds.
8:46, 8:46, 8 minutes and 46 seconds.
9 minutes and 29 seconds.
9 minutes and 29 seconds, right?
Actually, 8 minutes and 46 seconds.
When and how did you become concerned about the autopsy of George Floyd?
I think we all saw video and television coverage of this, and I saw one of the body camera footages from the police officers that showed that he was complaining of shortness of breath before entering into the car.
Right now. And I just had COVID, man. I don't want to go back to that. When I start breathing, it's going to go off on me, man.
Pull your legs in.
I started realizing that, hey, something was wrong with this. A few days later, I found out that the autopsy report was available online, and so I downloaded the autopsy report and read through it. When I did that, my jaw hit the floor.
You would agree, Chief, that from the perspective of Miss Frazier's camera, it appears that Officer Chauvin's knee is on the neck of Mr. Floyd.
Yes.
Would you agree that from the perspective of Officer King's body camera, it appears that Officer Chauvin's knee was more on Mr. Floyd's shoulder blade?
Yes.
I have no further questions.
Now, of course, most if not all of us have seen the cell phone footage that was shot by a citizen on the scene that fateful day, and we saw it and only it for months. The body-worn cameras and the footage that they recorded from the officers was kept under lock and key. We were also told that the knee on George Floyd's neck was not a tactical procedure that the MPD used in situations where a suspect was resisting and was not taught to any of its law enforcement officers. The Minneapolis Police Department chief, under oath, in testimony, confirmed it.
I'd like to show you what's been received as Exhibit 17. Is this a trained technique that's by the Minneapolis Police Department when you were overseeing the training unit?
It is not.
And how does this differ?
I don't know what kind of improvised position that is. So that's not what we train.
All right. As you reflect on Exhibit 17, I must ask you, is this a trained Minneapolis Police Department defensive tactics technique?
It is not.
Good. Several of those witnesses testified that MRT, or the maximal restraint technique, was not a part of Minneapolis police policy.
Oh, it wasn't part of the training. The pages that didn't want to be presented in court because they weren't in the manuals. Well, they sure as hell are in Derek's training manuals. So how can they say that they don't exist?
That's Derek's manual.
These are Derek's training manuals.
And MRT is in there?
Yes, it's in there. So how can you say that's not part of the training? So the chief of police at that time told a frickin' lie.
What do you think of the federal government's involvement in this case?
One of the first questions I asked was the FBI involved? And when I found out the FBI involvement was within 12 to 24 hours, that really raised a red flag for me. The FBI conducted a meeting with Dr. Baker, which really raised another red flag. I think there's a lot of questions that remained unanswered with this.
So now what? Chauvin is headed to jail, but is America headed to justice? Is justice convicting a police officer, or is justice convicting America? It is easy to just blame individual officers like Derek Chauvin, but the problem is structural. The problem is historic. Justice has convicted America. Now we must put in the time transforming this nation.
You know, sitting here 3 years on from the event, Ibram X. Kendi, aka Henry Rogers, might be the only person who has gotten justice for their actions from back in 2020. I can't recommend this documentary enough. If you guys get a chance, go over to Rumble and check it out. Watch the whole thing. These were just a few of the examples that I found that really highlighted how the mainstream media has been able to capture narratives and create and craft them in any way, shape, or form that they want, how they continue to be able to divide this country up, in this case by race, and how that possibly led to the election of Joe Biden and the crisis that we find ourselves in today. Alright, seems like this might be a good time to call this video a wrap. Tomorrow night we're going to be going live. We're going to be talking about what just happened a few days ago. The FCC is adopting new rules to eliminate digital discrimination for communities with poor internet access. What does that mean for the rest of us? Is this the end of the internet? Let me know what you guys think about the video, the fall of Minneapolis, in the comments down below. And as always, thank you for all the likes, the views, the comments. My new subscribers, my OGs, I appreciate each and every one of you. We are here to break the wheel. This is Ape Nation. I'm the Massalorian, and I'm out.